welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we have a puzzle with an unpronounceable name for you today. It's called Lewnip, something like that, and it's by Miky. And, well, the name of the puzzle is a reversal of the word pinwheel, and I think that's because this puzzle involves these things called Nabna lines. So these golden lines in the puzzle are lines where you can't have any consecutive digits. So if you were to put 2 in there, you now couldn't put 1 or 3 anywhere on the line, because 1 or 3 obviously would be consecutive with 2. So 1 can't go anywhere on the line and 3 can't go anywhere on the line. So that's how these lines work. It's an absolutely beautiful construction, this, just from a sort of aesthetic point of view, because you can see that there's so much symmetry. Other than the positions of the grey furniture in the grid, and I think this line and the givens, it's completely rotationally symmetrical, which is around 180 degrees, which I suppose is why it's probably called pinwheel. Absolutely beautiful. Now this is also, I mean, I've lost track of how many times this has been recommended to us. I have just checked it on Logic Masters Germany. It's got 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty and some very, very beautiful comments. So everybody seems to love this. Hard to judge the difficulty is a slightly terrifying comment from Glum Hippo. But Glum Hippo does want to see more people try it, so hopefully I'll be able to do it. We'll see about that in a moment or two. Let me tell you about some things going on in and around the channel, though. Tonight we are going to be streaming again, Chants of Sennaar Part 4, 10 o'clock UK time. We would love to have your company if you have any time free, and I'll try and remember to put a link on the screen. And hopefully see some of you at least then. Next, our Kickstarter is still going strong. We've got 9 days left, I think. So this is our Fog of War Kickstarter. Loads of Fog of War puzzles, all built around a story with some beautiful art, all in time for Christmas. Super duper stuff. Well worth having a look at. Try and remember to put a link on the screen. And then over on Patreon, we've got December's monthly reward from the Skunk Works, 100 Snackdokus. This pack is proving incredibly popular, actually. I think people really like the idea of each of the puzzles just being a sort of a bite-sized puzzle. So a snack, they only take a minute or 2 each. Unless you get stuck. I did get stuck on one the other day. I've been recording my solves, yeah, but occasionally you can get stuck for a little bit longer than that, but some of them can only take 30 seconds even. So and all of the rules are different. So it's just a lovely, lovely thing. Really, really worth trying. And we're getting a lot of comments from people who've not managed to finish any of our monthly rewards before, and they have been able to do these Snackdokus, even though there are 100 of them. So that's lovely to hear. We've also got my solve of a completely different beast. It's not a Snackdoku, it's Broken Secrets by TotallyNormalCat. That's a much longer video of a much harder thing. And if you like that sort of puzzle, that's over on Patreon too. Now, I've got some birthdays and other announcements to do today as well. I'm going to start off with Carolyn, who has turned 81 today over there in Nevada. And Carolyn only found the channel relatively recently, and I love this part of the story. Carolyn never thought she'd be able to progress past a medium difficulty puzzle in the New York Times Sudoku, which I think does it have easy, medium, hard every day? I think so. But Carolyn's been watching our videos and now has been able to finish the whole of those 100 puzzles in the December Patreon and sent in the solution at the end. So Carolyn, very well done on that. Many happy returns on your 81st birthday. I hope you're able to have some chocolate cake to celebrate. Next, Kian. I think that's how you pronounce the name. I hope I haven't butchered that. Kian turns 18 today. And I know this because your mum Polly wrote to us, Kian, and said that you've even been teaching your teachers about Sudoku, which is something I'm very pleased to hear. So, Kian, I hope you have a great 18th birthday, big birthday that today. Oh, and a slightly sadder message now about Pauline over in the Netherlands, who badly broke her foot 2 days ago. And used our videos apparently to get her through the night after surgery. Oh, Pauline, I'm so sorry to hear this. and you've got another surgery tomorrow, and the recovery will take many months. Well, your dear friend Emma wrote in and said you might appreciate a shout out. I just send all good wishes to you, and I'm sorry to hear that you've hurt yourself. Fingers crossed for a swift recovery. And then finally, Butch. Butch has turned 75 today. We've got some amazing birthdays today. I know this because your grandson Aidan wrote to us, Butch, and basically to say he's really enjoyed watching the occasional CTC video with you over the years, and he thanks you for starting his interest in Sudoku, because apparently it was watching you solve that piqued his interest. So Butch, many happy returns. I hope you have chocolate cake, obviously. And with all that said and done, let's have a look at Liwinip by Miky. I hope I said it was by Miky before. Did I? I think I did. I can't miss that out. Miky is a fantastic solver fantastic setter. I think Miky is a very good solver as well. And Miky's puzzles, if I remember correctly, are normally quite difficult. So I'm not that surprised this has got 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty on Logic Masters. But let's talk about the rules. They are as follows. We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. So we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. And then we've got golden lines form sets of non-repeating digits when no digit can be consecutive. So I've already talked a bit about that. So if you put 2 there, you can't put 1 or 3 in the remaining cells on the line, etc. And then we've just got the grey circles are odd. So we've got some, how many have we got? 6 grey circles. So each of these has to contain an odd digit. And grey squares are even. Oh, hang on, that was weird. Oh, okay, maybe when I click those, I think maybe it's because the even digits are all on the lines. It's trying to highlight something different. There seem to be 4 even digits. Anyway, do have a go. The way to play, as usual, is to click the link under the video. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Yeah, it did say non-repeating. So that was my first thought, is it possible, for example, to say that digit can't repeat on its line? So it's a bit, I mean, we see this with Renban lines quite often, patterns like this, sometimes extended actually, so it's more like that, which forces roping in the 3 rows. But here what we know is that digit is in one of those squares, and therefore on the other Nabna line. So this digit is on both Nabna lines. That feels like it matters for some reason. So what does that mean? Does that mean that digit... Yeah, that does mean that digit is restricted actually. Especially with this this conglomeration, or congregation is a better word, of digits in the central row. I mean, imagine that was a 5. So now I'm wondering where I can put 4 and 6 in row 5, because I don't think there are many cells I can put them on at all. In fact, yeah, whatever that digit is, the digits that are consecutive with it, because they now can't go on this line, and because 5 then gets transposed over here onto the other line in the row, 4 and 6 would have to be in these 3 squares in row 5. And I can't put 4 and 6 there because they are both odd. Right. So actually, I'm just going to think about what this digit can be. No, I was about to say it can't be 1. No, it can be 1. No, it absolutely can be 1, because if you put 1 here, you're saying that 2 has to go in one of these 3 squares, and 2 can go in one of these 3 squares because it is actually already there. Now, 3 is going to work as well, isn't it? No, 3 is not going to work. 3 doesn't work for the same reason 5 doesn't work. Yeah, sorry, that's fairly obvious. Apologies for misspeaking there. But if that's 3, the question then is, where do you put 4 and 6 in the row? And the answer is you have to put them in those 2 squares, and both of those squares are meant to be odd, so you cannot put 3 there. Now, if this is 4, then you've got to think about 3 and 5 in the row. Now, 3 and 5 are odd, and they could go in those squares. So 4 might... Oh, whoopsie. 4 might be possible. 5 we know isn't possible because it forces these both to be even. 6 is... no, 6 is... Oh, hang on. This is really restricted, this cell. Yeah, I mean, 6 doesn't work because the consecutive digit with 6 is 7. And I can't put 7 into those 3 squares because of the given 7. So I can't put 6 there. I can't put 7 there. If I put 8 there, I've got the same problem again. I need to put 7 somewhere in the row and it won't go anywhere. So this is not 8. Now, what about if it's 9? No, 9 doesn't work because these have to be... 9 again gives you the 8 problem. If you put 9 there, 8 in the row is impossible to place. That's weird. So this is 1 or 4 only. And is that the same then? Yeah, it's totally symmetrical. Ah, it's beautiful. So there's a 1-4 pair in box 5 immediately. So what I'm saying is that this digit... It can't appear on its own Nabna line. It can't appear in its own row, so it goes up there somewhere in box... I mean, maybe I do this longhand. It goes up there somewhere in box 6. So it goes over here. And then it's subject to all of those same conditions, because it's basically all about these 3 squares. Because whatever these 3 squares are, well, these 3 squares have to accommodate... Well, in fact, we now know, because this is a 1-4 pair. 4 is has appeared on both Nabna lines, so 3 and 5 can't appear on both Nabna lines, so 3 and 5 are a pair there. And 1 works because the 2 in the centre is available to... the 2 can be placed in the row because it is already there. This is very beautiful. It's very beautiful indeed. Now... Can we do any more? We've got 6, 8, and 9 to place. And... I don't know. I'm wondering if I've now... I mean, this sort of trickery is going to work. Well, it's going to work a bit, isn't it? In the sense that... We've got something similar going on here. We've got something similar going on here. I mean, it's exactly the same pattern. This one is not quite the same. Because the sticky outy piece is not... I mean, what we do know is that that digit is on the other one, I suppose. So that digit is on that one. I don't know. I can't think about that. Let me. I think we're going to colour this line. We'll colour that line. So we'll make that blue. So blue can't be in any of those 6 cells in box 1. So blue is over here. In fact, I'm going to fully. Let's do the green fully as well. So blue is down here. Blue is odd by the circle, so it doesn't go there, which is an even digit. And this all should work the other way round, shouldn't it? So that digit, which it could be green. Actually, I'm going to take the green out. Sorry, I'm going to take the green out because I do want to make that fully purplified. Yeah, I'm going to take the orange out of there because I'm going to want to colour that digit as well in a minute. So that digit we can see is not in any of those 6 cells. So it's in one of these 3 squares, which means it's up here. So again, we have got exactly the same sort of thing going on in column 2 that we had going on in row 5, which is to say that whatever we put in this square has to appear. No, it's not. No, it doesn't. It itself doesn't appear. The digits consecutive with it then can't go on either Nabna line in column 2, so they have to go in there. But hang on. We've got a parity problem now. Because the same is true of that. But the digits consecutive with an even number are both odd. And the digits consecutive with an odd number are both even. And that's... okay, okay, all right, here's some. Oh, this is beautiful. Oh, Mikey, that's beautiful. Right, okay. Well, I think I know this square is a 1 or a 9 now. Okay, because the nature of even numbers, if we imagine the string of digits, 1 to 9, laid out in front of us, they are the Sudoku digits. Now pick an even number, 2, 4, 6 or 8. What we know about any of the even numbers we just selected is that they do have 2 consecutive neighbours within the string of digits that are Sudokuable. So even if we pick the lowest even number, the 2, we know that it has 2 neighbours, 1 and 3, which are both valid Sudoku digits. So we know that whatever this digit is, it has 2 consecutive neighbours that can't appear in any of those 6 cells. So they must both appear in these 3 cells in column 2. I mean, imagine if this is a 2. Where are you putting 1 and 3 in this column? You can't put them on the lines now, so you have to put them here. But that means 2 of these 3 digits are consumed by odd numbers. So how does this work? Imagine this was a 3. That has 2 even neighbours, 2 and 4. But I can't put 2 even numbers in here at the same time I've definitely got 2 odd numbers in there. So the only way this can work is if this digit can only generate for itself 1 consecutive number, which means it is 1 or 9. And that means in this string is definitely 2 or 8. Bobbins. Okay, so how do we know? If that was 9, that would be 9. Be a 9 over there. Oh no, I've got this right. I see. This is just, it's genius construction. This is because look, we've got exactly the same pattern on the right hand side of the grid, in the sense that this digit is even and this digit is odd. So again, so if we colour this line, we know that this it's not a very good colour, but that yellow digit has to go down there in box 9, so it's on the line up here. So the yellow digits appeared on both lines. Whatever we put for this digit, let's make this digit red. We've not used red. So that's got to be down there. Can't be in the bottom cell because it's odd. So we've got exactly the same sort of problem. That can't be yellow because it's even. In this column that we had in this column, which is that the even digit generates 2 odd digits into that string, so we can't generate 2 even digits with this digit, so we have to generate 1 even digit, which means this is a 1 or a 9, which means I've got a 1-9 pair in the row, which means I've now got a 9 in box 5. Is that my first digit, the 9 in box 5? Well, that's a very, very pretty digit. So, what does that mean? Don't know. Oh no, hang on. I've got another digit. I've got a 4 here. So I've got a 1 here. So that means I've got to put... Oh, I've got to put 1 over here, so that becomes a 9. So that becomes a 1. I've got to put 4 on this line, which means I've got to have a 4 down here. It could go in the purple cell. Oh, yeah, but look. No, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. There's a 9 in one of those 3 squares. Can we do any more? I suspect... What do I think? I mean, this digit now definitely can't be 8, can it? Because if it's 8, these squares have to include 9 in the column. So I think that that's 2, 4, or 6. Now, if it's 2, I mean, we know that one of these digits is 8. That's definitely true, isn't it? because we've got 9 here, so we can't put 8 in on either of these lines. So 8 is in one of these, 8 is not in that square, so 8 is in one of those 2 squares. And then we've got 2 odd digits that are consecutive with whatever we pick into this square. So it's either, if this was 2, we would know the position of the 1. If this was 4, this would be a 3-5 pair. Well, that, in fact, that would have to be there in those 2 squares specifically. And if this was 6, we'd have to use 5 and 7 into these. I can't quite see how to do this. So perhaps what we've got to do is, I don't know actually. Can we populate these? No, well maybe we can. If we know both of them have 1 and 4 on them, don't they? So they can't, neither of them can have 2 or 3 or 5 on them. So the other digits are 6, 7, 8 and 9. Now if 9's over here, 8 can't be on this line, can it? So 8 must be on this line, which is placing 8 here. Okay, right, and that's good. That's good, because now 1 is definitely not in this square. So we can't put 2 here because this would have to be a 1-3 pair from the column's perspective. So that's not 2, that's now 4 or 6. And now we can't put 7 on this line, can we? Because it would be consecutive with 8, so we have to put the 7 over here. So this becomes 4, 7, 9, and this becomes 1, 6, 8. And that's probably useful for some. Well, actually, no, it is useful because if one of those is 6, that's now a 4. And if that's now a 4, these 2 squares have to be 3. 3 and 5. I wanted to write into them. They're 3 and 5 from the column's perspective. These squares are 7 and something. Well, 7 has to go there. Whatever the something is, the 7 goes there. 2. That's a 2. Wow. Okay. So what does that mean, you may well ask? I don't know yet. There's a 4 up here somewhere. That's not 4 because it can't. These have opposite parity. There's a 9 down here. And can we do any more jiggery-pokery over on the right-hand side? Yes, we can, because we know now this is a 1. So we know that the 2 in column 8 cannot be on a line. So the 2 in column 8 is in one of those 2 squares and has to be there. Oh, this is so clever, isn't it? Now that digit is 6 or 8, isn't it? Because it can't be 2 and it can't be 4. So that's 6 or 8. Now, that means there must be a 7 in one of these 2 squares, because 7 is always consecutive with 6 and 8. So the 7 must go in the centre. And the other digit is going to be 5 or 9 into this square, and it can't be 9. So that must be 5. And now that square becomes a 6 to allow the 5, 7 to exist. The 5 and the 3 get done on the right-hand side. We've done row 8 just out of absolutely nowhere. That's a 3. Good grief. Okay. And that square sees 1, 5 and 7. So that's 3 or 9. That square is 4 or 8 only. It sees 6 on its own line and it sees 2 in the column. Sorry, pregnant pause now while I try and work out what I want to do next. Maybe pencil mark that square. 1, 7, 1 or 7 actually. It sees 9, 3 and 5. And that square that is just 2 or 6. C's 4 and 8. Bobbins. I don't know. Am I going to get stuck now? There doesn't seem to be much to go on in the wings in terms of outside of these central 3 rows. I don't know whether this 5 is performing some miraculous... maybe. Okay, I'm going to have a look at these then and try and understand how these lines work. Let's have a look at that square. So that will make that light green. So what do we know about light green in this box? It's got to go up there. So that digit is on both Nabna lines, and by symmetry we must be able to say about the same about this digit. That digit must be on this Nabna line. So again, it's similar. It's similar to what we've had going on, but it's just the geometry is slightly different. So whatever you put in there, let's just say that's a 3 for a moment. Let's just so I can think about it with real digits. So that's telling us that 2 and 4 now in box 8 would have to go in those squares, isn't it? Because I can't put 2 or 4 on this line, I can't put 2 or 4 on this line. So 2 and 4 have to go in those squares. So whatever this is, unless it's 1 or 9, you have to put it's going to yield 2 consecutive digits in this box, and then that one is also going to yield 2 consecutive digits unless it's 1 or 9. So it can't be different. I know it can be. It can only be different parity. These can only be of different parity if one of them is a 1 or a 9. Okay, so is that actually a sort of a theory or a theorem that we can take forward? Because if these were normal digits, not 1s and 9s, then whatever the parity of this one is, it has 2 consecutive digits here, which means this must share one of those consecutive digits. Otherwise, it's broken. That's if these are not 1 and 9. That one can't be 9. Actually, hang on. Can that be 1 or not? I think it can be a 1. Oh, no, oh, hang on. No, this is so beautiful. Oh, good grief. This just is... it's breathtaking. Right, that can't be a 1. Is it where... it does work the other way around. I don't believe it. This is so... Right. Agadmeta style. It's really... you will love, if you haven't seen why this can't be a 1, it's really worth pausing the video and just asking yourself the question. Because, and then thinking about how this digit has had 1 or 9 removed from its options. It's so clever, this. It really, the shape of these thingies and what it's done, it's so natural. It's weirdly beautiful. It's weirdly beautiful. Yeah. I can't describe it any better than that. It feels like a very natural thing that's fallen out of this geometry. So the reason this can't be a 1 is because of our red cell here. 1 is down here. So if this is a 1, you can't put a 1 now in box 8 at all, because that will be a 1. And you can't repeat a digit on the Nabna, you can't repeat it in its own row, and you can't repeat it there if that's a 1. So this cannot be a 1. And you can see it works the same for 9 here. If this was a 9, that's a 9, and now you can't put 9 in this box. So what this means is that both of these cells are even, I think. And the reason I say that is I think these now, they're not extreme digits, they're not 1s and 9s, so they both have 2 consecutive partners. Therefore, they must have the same parity, because obviously we can't put 4 digits into those 3 cells. So these have the same parity, they're sharing a consecutive digit. But we know that the digit's consecutive with these, so all these 3 digits have to then have the same parity, because if these have the same parity, these are the consecutive digits to these. So these all have the same parity, and one of them is a 5. So these are all odd. So that one is 3, 7, or 9. That one is 1, 3, or 5. And 5... and these are both even. So actually, let's just put in all the options and see what we can get rid of. We can get rid of 4 from here, I think. We can get rid of... actually, that's not done... I haven't done very well there, have I? We can get rid of 6 from here. So I can only get rid of 1. But I know that 5 has to be consecutive to one of these digits. So if this was 8... this would have to be 6. Because if they were a 2-8 pair, the consecutive digits would be 1, 3, 7, and 9, which is I still can't fit in here. So they have to share a consecutive digit. So they could be something like 2 and 4. I mean, 2 and 4 looks very plausible to me. In fact, that would have to be that way round. 2 there, 4 there. The consecutive digits are 1, 3, and 5, which we can put in here. So, alright, so this square can't be 2, because if that square's 2, that needs to be 4. Yeah, that's right. I mean, look, if we try 2 and 6, for example, thinking the 5 will help us out, it doesn't. Where are we putting 7 in the row? We could put it there, and now where are we putting 1 and 3 in the row? We can't put them both there. So these are like a sequence. So if that's 2, that needs to be 4, and it can't be, so that's not 2, so that gives us a 4-8 pair here. Now if that's 4, this could be 2 or 6. If it's 8, it could be 6. Other way around, if that's 2, this can't be 8, because if that's 8, that needs to be 6. So we've got a 2-6 pair here and a 4-8 pair here. So what that's telling us is that that digit is on this line, I think. I'm going to run out of colours soon. In fact, I'm going to get rid of green. Hang on, let's get rid of green, because I could make that green. Because what I'm noticing is that cell, it can't be there. These are odd digits, and it can't be there by Sudoku, so there's a green digit up here, which means 4 and 8 are on this top line. 4 and 8 are on the top line. So the top line can't have 3, 5, 7 or 9 on it. 5, 7 or 9. So if it has an odd digit, it has to be a 1. And if it has only... I don't think it can have only even digits, can it? Because isn't it going to break this square? It's a 4-cell line. I think that's right. That feels right. I'm just going to say this over again to myself. I definitely know the top line here has 4 and 8 on it. So if it has an odd digit on it, it must be a digit 1. That's true, isn't it? And if it doesn't have an odd digit on it, its 4 digits must be 2, 4, 6, and 8. And that would have to include a 2-6 pair, which would break this square. So there is a 1. It doesn't, maybe we don't know. We know it's got a 1 in one of these 2 squares. So we know 2 now in this box. Oh, well, hang on. hang on, this is important, because now 1 can't be there, and that feels to me like I can't make this 2 anymore, because if I make that 2, I need to put 1 in the middle. So that has to be a 6, I think. That's a 2. That makes more sense in terms of what I was thinking about 2 in box 8, because 2 can't go on the top line because 1's on it. So 2 must go on the bottom line in one of 2 places. So 2 is placeable in box 9. It's in one of 3 places in box 3. And if that's... we don't know. That's annoying. Oh, hang on. There's more Sudoku we can do up columns 3 and 1 now. So 6 is now on the top line. So this is a 4-6 pair apparently. Oh, and that's beautiful, because now that can't be a 7. That's got to be a 1. Otherwise, this digit's broken. So now, what are these digits? That must be a 7-9 pair. Right, now we need to check. So 2, 4, 7 and 9. They're definitely not consecutive, which is great. 1, 4, 6 and 9 work. Okay. So now if this has got 6, well, we now, okay, let's go back to basics. We know that 5 and 7 have to occupy these squares. Where's the 7 going? It can only go there. So there is a 7 up here now. So if this square is... Well, if that square's 8, I can't put 9 into the row, can I? In fact, that's a 3 now. We can actually see by Sudoku. Sorry, I never use black digits because I get them so rarely. I think I got one yesterday in Dorlear's puzzle. It was a given 3, but very rarely do I get them. Okay, so now this has to be 4, doesn't it? And then we can see it's rather beautiful. The 4 and the 6 sort of nest within a 3, 5, 7 triple. From a sort of consecutive point of view. Now, okay, so that's a 7, that's a 9. We haven't put 1 and 8 into this row. Ah, and that's an 8 by Sudoku. So this must be 1, this must be 8. So now we can think about, oh, we know that's the red digit, don't we? That's definitely not the red digit. That digit is selectable from 3, well, let's list all its options, I suppose. 3, 4, 6 and 9. It can't be 9 because 8's already on the line. It can't be 6. 6 is already on the line. It can't be 4. That's a 3. Okay, that's good. So that's a 9. And that means we know in theory... we've got a 4, 6 pair in row 2 now. That feels like it might be important. But we know that, okay, we know that this line has 1 and 8 on it. And we know this line... Oh, hang on. My highlighting seems to say there's got to be a 6 up here as well. Okay, let's trust that logic is sound. So these squares would be 2, 4 and 9 then. It does seem to work, doesn't it? So I think probably we're just confirming stuff that we'd already figured out. Even if I hadn't figured out, I'd figured it out. That's a 4. So this box now needs 1. Oh, it needs 1. 1 in the corner. 3 here, 5 here. Beautiful. So now I need 7 and 9 over there. And I need 5 and something, 5 and 6 into these squares. It's still working from a Sudoku perspective, which is very good news. 4, 9, 9, 7. Okay, so we're going to get triples. We're going to get triples all at the top of the grid now. Ah, and that's a 2. What was the grey digit? The grey digit was 4, so that's not grey. One of these is grey. Probably don't need the 4 anymore. I'm not sure how much colouring is going to be useful, actually. No, probably what we need to do is colour this top line. But I think the rest of our colouring is probably OTOs at this point. So let's resort to a chromatically free grid and maybe start doing some actual Sudoku. I know it's again. I know it probably sounds like there's an imposter on the screen. Could get a 3 in the corner here. I think that can't be a 1. That's even. What does that mean? It means that probably can be even, and it might not be able to be odd. Oh dear. 1 second. 9 is quite restricted in this box. One of 2 places. 2, 8 and 9 in fact are the options for this string. Let's have a look at it. We've got another possibility. Oh, we're 3 5s and 7s again, are we? So we're 3 5 and 7 on this side. Oh, that can't be 5 because that would repeat on this line. Alright, let's do some colouring then. So that one we know is on the top line. This one must be on the bottom line. And again, whatever these are, they're either... the thing is, this we've got 1s and 9s available here. If there was no... one of them is at least a 1 or a 9. Because if they were... if there was no 1 and no 9 in these squares, they would be a 2, 8 pair. And that would imply 1, 3, 7 and 9 needed to be placed in this box in those 3 squares, and there are 4 digits. So that's wrong. But we can get ourselves out of trouble here by making either, if this square was a 1, then you can put 2 in here, and you'd still have 2 spare digits left. So for example, if this was 8, you could put 2, 7, 9 here. Maybe. There might be Sudoku reasons some of this doesn't work. I'm just sort of trying to work out in my brain what the limits are. 5 is in one of those cells. What about this 4, 6 pair? Is that doing something? 4 and 6. Are on different lines in box 5. It's beautiful. That's a beautiful thought. Right. Okay. So 4 and 6 are not in these squares in box 2. So they're either up here or they're down there in some order. But you can't put both of them up here because that would break this square. And you can't put both of them down here because that would break this square. So one of them is up here and one of them is down here. But that means both lines contain a digit that is consecutive with 5. Because if this line has 4 on it, say, and this one has 6 on it, you can't put 5 on either line, and vice versa. So 5 in this box is in one of these 3 positions, and therefore 5 is there, I think. That feels right. So now I get a... oopsie. Now I get a 3, 7 pair. So I've got a 4, 6 pair, 3, 7 pair, and an actual 5, which means these squares are from 1, 2, 8 and 9, but neither of these can be 2. That one can't be 9. Oh, hang on, I've got a problem now. Because nothing here can be... Oh, I see. Right. And look at this. So now neither of these squares has a digit in it that is consecutive with 5. So how on earth are we going to make this string work? Well, the only way you can make it work is if these 2 digits are consecutive to only 1. Or let me put that a different way. Each of these digits, if it generated just 1 consecutive digit, that would work. It would be the only way it could work, and that's what it must be. So this must be a 1, this must be a 9, and now we can fit 8 and... Oh, no we can't, because my 2 is over here. Bobbins, sorry. That's not right. Okay. Oh, I was so that felt so correct, I have to say. But I don't think it can be, unless that can be a 2. But that would say that that wasn't a 2. And that can't be right, because this is a 4-9 pair, and that would imply everything in the puzzle is wrong. Oh, bobbins. I don't know. Or wow. Okay. Well, now I don't understand. I don't understand. There's an error. There's definitely an error, because the logic I've got, the place I've arrived at, is internally inconsistent. I don't understand how I can put none of these options are consecutive with 5. So how can I do this if this isn't a 1-9 pair? Sorry, I am trying to work out what's going on. I know I'm not doing a very good job of it. 2, 4, 9. Thing is, if I've got something wrong down here, we've got to go back so far. There's no way. I don't know. I don't know how. How did we disambiguate the 3s, 5s, and 7s and things? So I'm wondering if that was necessarily the case the 5 was here. Because if this could be a 2 and the 5 could be there, that would make this a 5 and this a 3. And that would mean this 3 would have to move there, and this would be a 7, and then there would be a 7 in one of these two. That's not impossible, is it? So how did I get that 3? Did I get that because I got this 7? How did I get this 7? Can I just, I mean, if I delete that, that was 3, 7 or 9 at this point apparently. Yeah, it had to be odd, didn't it? But why did I think it couldn't be? Well, the thing is, I don't know that. I don't know what I did first. I don't know which of these. Is that? See, I don't see how I could have known the order of this 3, 5. If we go back a bit, let's just go. In fact, let's just go all the way back and discover, because this is one of the great things about Sven's software, is we can just do this. Let's do it. Let's try and understand. Okay, so it was sometime around here. Oh, yeah, look. Well, why haven't I got 7 as an option there? That's an interesting thought. Golly, this goes right back to the bones of the puzzle, doesn't it? So, yeah, I remember. I worked out that these two squares had to be even, didn't I? So these two squares had to be odd. I've then filled this in with 1, 3 and 5. And that's wrong, because 5 is there. I bet I tried to type 1, 3 and 7 and got it wrong. This is fascinating, actually. So what does that affect? It certainly doesn't affect the conclusions about these squares having to be even, these squares having to be a sort of consecutive pair of even digits, because otherwise there's just no way this can be filled. So that logic's fine. It definitely does affect, let's just be careful, I mean it affects this sort of thing here. Whatever I've just taken, so what did I take out of there? I took 1 out. Now why did we do that? Yes, that was legitimate, because what we did there was we worked out that this 4 or 8 had to be on this line. And we worked out this couldn't all be even digits because that would break this square. So we worked out there was an odd digit on here. And we worked out that had to be 1. Now, was that legitimate? Yeah, that just falls out from having 4 and 8 on the line. If you've got 4 and 8 on the line, you can't have 3, 5, 7 or 9 on the line. If you need an odd number, it's got to be 1. So that's fine. So what did I do then? Then I claim, do I, that this is a 6. Why do I do that? Yes, that's legitimate, because now if this was a 2, I need to put 1 in one of these squares, and I can't now. There's a 1 on the line, so that's 6 and 2. Yeah, where this is going is really good, I think. This is just Sudoku. I'm doing up the left. There's nothing. I'm not using these digits, and what we're going to reach in a moment is a situation where I put a 7 in here. That is not valid, because this could have been a 7 at this point. So I put a 7 up there, which I put a 3 here. That's not valid. That's going to be a 7 in the finished grid. So it's anything that flows from these digits up the grid is a bad deduction. But anything that flows... But the fact that this is 3, 5, 7 is not bad. It's just the 7 could be here. Because we did work out legitimately that this was a 6, 4 pair. So this 9 being correct is still fine. It's fascinating, actually, going back through this in a sort of slightly horrible way. So this means, so this is all fine, this is all fine. It's just, we have to be very careful with anything we do in... Is that legitimate? Yeah, I mean, I think that is legitimate, because again, what we've got to remember is that these 2 digits and anything that flowed upwards just from these digits, and they're odd, is incorrect. So this being a 9 and this being a 2, I think is still legitimate. Oh, okay, that's what we did before. So then we fill in these, we fill in that, we fill in that, we fill in these. We think about that, that's legitimate. Now, okay, that 2 pencil mark is correct. That 5 pencil mark is incorrect, because we don't know, because this 3, 5 should not be possible to resolve at this point. So what we need to do is we need to take this out, we need to take both of these out, we need to take both of these out, and we do know that these are 3, well, we know that could be 7, and neither of them can be 5 or 9, obviously. So these are a 3, 7, these are a 3, 5, which does mean 3 in the central column is in one of those squares now by Sudoku. And then we need to go back. Yes, and now my thoughts, I think, were quite decent. Makes a change. So now my thoughts were fine, weren't they? Because don't we say that this 4, 6 pair they do have to appear on either side of this line. Therefore 5 in this box has to be in one of these squares. Now I don't know where it goes this time, so I don't get to put it here. But that's in a way a blessing, because then the next deduction, once you have 5 in one of these squares, because it can't be on either line because 4 and 6 are on, 4 is on one line and 6 is on the other. Once you've got that clear in your brain, then the question is, okay, well, how on earth each of these now can't generate a 5 as a consecutive digit? So if we were to choose 8 here, for example, we know that this would be then 795. And this would have to be a 2, and it couldn't be a 2 because you couldn't put 1 and 3 in here. These need to be they're either consecutive numbers of the same parity, like 2 and 4, 4 and 6, 9 and 7, etc., or they include 1s and 9s. And in this instance, because 5 is no use to man nor beast, we need 1 and 9, which means this has got to be 1. This has got to be 9. Now, the great thing about this now, I hope, is that we can now say these digits are exactly equal to 2, 5 and 8. And we can place the 2, which means that's an 8 and that's a 2. And if this doesn't work, I'm going to cry. Now 5 now can't be here, so I think that's the 5. This is 8 now by a process of deduction. And what does that mean? So now that's an 8 apparently. So this is a 2. We're going to have to think about these lines in the middle, but I suppose I do some Sudoku, do I? I mean, it's outrageous, but okay, I will. And that's 8, that's 6, that's 1. Can I do the 4, 9 at the bottom? I can do the 5, 3 in the middle. So I can do the 3 and the 7. Oh no. Why have I got 7 up here? Is that a bogus pencil mark? Why have I got 7 up there? I don't understand. I shouldn't have 7 up there. Is that a pencil mark I just put in, or is that no, that's a pencil mark I've had in for ages and it's totally bogus. Thank goodness for that. Wow. Okay. So this 7 pencil mark is bogus. It's an anachronism left over from our incorrectnesses in these columns. And now you can see 7 is in one of those squares, which is fine. So these are from 4, 7 and 9, but obviously that can't be 9. That one we don't know. In this column we've got 3, 4 and 9 to place. That can't be 9. Ooh, okay. And in this column we've got 1 and 6 to play. Oh, we can do that one. Yeah, we can place the 1, and that's the 6 now. So so this line can't have 7 on it because it's got 6 on it. So the 7 switches to the its other opportunity, and that gives me a 7. It seems to resolve a 7-3 pair over there. Puts a 5 in the corner. No, we've still got 1 chance for a 3 in the. Oh no, we don't. that's swiftly kiboshed. Okay, so now what? That 3 is giving me a 4 here, which gives me a 9 here, a 3 here, and these 4s and 6s must be resolved somehow. 6, 4, 6, 4, 9, 4. Oh, wow, we managed to save it. I mean, I feel a bit, I do feel a bit guilty because I made a mistake down here, but it was a pencil marking mistake, which led on to the interesting thing about that mistake was that it didn't change the beautiful logic that I found at the top here involving the 4 and the 6. In a way, it was lucky because I found it. So the other day I did a puzzle. Which one was it? I can't remember. It was a couple of days ago. I made I think it was GDC's puzzle, and I made a slip of a pencil mark right at the end of the puzzle. It really didn't affect the logic very much. And And as some of you noticed, I got lucky on a coin flip from there. But in a way, I'd rather I hadn't got lucky. I much prefer to solve these puzzles logically, not by fluke, by 1,000%. And this one, I mean, this is such a beautiful idea. The way it works through, it's just gorgeous. It's stunning, really. It's stunning, really. This point down here, that can't be 1 or 9, and that deduction. What's amazing to me about it's this square, I think, is that, and I suppose in that one, these two squares are amazing in this puzzle because that neither of them can be 1 or 9. It's weird. It's weird that falls out of. No, okay, no, it's by design, isn't it? It's genius setting, because what that's caused by is the selection of these digits to having to be even. Miky, that's very clever, because that pushed the 9 pencil mark there, and it pushes the 1 pencil mark there, and that's what causes the magic. You suddenly realise this can't be 1 because it would put 1 there, and you couldn't put 1 in box 8 anymore, and vice versa. So, okay, it is incredibly natural, but it's also very brilliant of the constructor. Really, really impressive. Loved it. Loved it. That's a beautiful, beautiful Sudoku. Not necessarily easy, much easier if you don't make bad pencil marks. Lesson for the day. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.